You obviously in adult entertainment. You're the
Yes.
first adult entertainer I've had on the podcast, so definitely an
Ooh.
interesting conversation for me to have. So,
Well,
um,
thank you.
yes, absolutely. So when did you get like when did you know that you're like, hey, I like this stuff? When did that happen? How old were you?
So MMA or adult?
Adults. We'll start with adults. We'll get into MMA, but I'm curious about
Okay.
adults. So
So, I mean, nobody really grows up or thinks like, oh yeah, I want to grow up and I want to, be like an adult entertainer, or, do that type of thing for a living. So, I was always pretty comfortable with my sexuality. However, I went to school. I was a nurse and I still have my nursing degree. So I practiced as a nurse for 8 years. And I was actually doing continuing education credits the other day. And I was texting one of my neighbors. She's a nurse. And I was like, oh my God, CEUs, these suck. She's like, oh my God, they're horrible. So I keep my license current just because I want something to fall back on. But it's just kind of crazy. There was a lot of things that happened within my family, and I was looking for a way to help my family and some quick money legally. So I decided to do adult and kind of never looked back. I mean, once you put it out there, you can't take it back. So it's like you got to go big or you got to go home.
yeah, that's true. So like when you started, how old
Mhm.
were you when you started?
I was 33.
Okay. So
So yeah,
social media, internet, I mean that was already
I mean, it was
going
there.
strong.
It was, but I
Mhm.
didn't realize like the impact it had in adult. All I thought was like, oh yeah, I can go out into film, I can go to LA, go to Vegas, and then I can still be a nurse and no one would ever know. Because I had DVDs. Like I guess
Yeah.
I wasn't I don't know. I guess that's all I had. I had like a big drawer full and they were just, your collection. So I just thought,
Yeah.
okay, I'll be good for a while. And then I think it was like 6 months after I started, people back from my hometown found out and I was like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
How was that?
yeah.
Like how did people
Oh
react to
gosh.
you
Oh
when
my
they
gosh.
found out about it?
My closest friends, so I
Mhm.
told them, I prepped them, and then once like some of the people back home found out, I was like, I have to tell my mom, and eventually I'll have to tell my dad.
Mhm.
So I mean, people were surprised, but I think people are more like curious, like, oh my god, But I mean, I don't want to say not a big surprise, but I mean, I danced in college a little bit, so it's like wasn't that big of a deal for me. And it's
Mhm.
not, and the crazy thing is like here in the United States, it's not that big of a deal. Or no, it is more of a big deal than like in Europe and it's,
Right.
Brazil and like a lot of those other countries. So,
Yeah.
people were shocked, but whatever. I don't live for other people's approval or validation. So I don't really care.